The idea of green feathers is that we want to be the link between getting nature back into your garden and then the ability to see the nature in your garden in areas where you wouldn't normally see them. Think things like hedgehog houses, bird boxes, natural habitats where you wouldn't normally see the behaviour of an animal in that habitat. Our cameras allow you to not only encourage nature to come back into your garden, but then also be able to see it too.
Want to attract and convert more leads? Want to learn how digital PR, branding, and SEO can establish and build your brand identity? Welcome to the Market Movers Building Brands and Links with Linkify podcast. We answer these questions and help you ramp up your brand visibility and credibility. Let's cut through the noise and make your business the talk of the town. We're your hosts, Nick and Chris. Let's get this show on the road.
Welcome to the Market Movers podcast. Today's guest is James Ewens, e-commerce director at Green Feathers, a tech-driven operator who scaled teams, mastered ERP and CX, and now leads a wildlife-focused brand, redefining SEO and AI-driven growth in 2025 and beyond. Welcome to the show, James.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
James, it's great to have you on. To kick things off, why don't you give us an overview of Green Feathers, talk about the kind of growth that you've seen since you joined the team?
Yeah, so Green Feathers has existed as an entity now for, will this be year 9, I think? Coming up on 9 anyway. And I originally worked for the business back in 2010, 2011, in the sort of startup phase. I then left and as Chris may have touched on, went and built some other teams and did some other things, and had the opportunity to come back and kind of lead the e-com team here. It was 2.5 years ago now. So yeah, not a huge amount of time, but the idea of Green Feathers is that we want to be the link between getting nature back into your garden and then the ability to see the nature in your garden in areas where you wouldn't normally see them. So think things like hedgehog houses, bird boxes, natural habitats where you wouldn't normally see the behaviour of an animal in that habitat. Our cameras allow you to not only encourage nature to come back into your garden, but then also be able to see it too. In terms of the strategy and the growth, we transitioned when I came back. We transitioned from a kind of more B2B led strategy into more D2C and building our presence on our own greenfeathers.co.uk platform. And since we've been doing that, we've seen sort of 30-35% growth over the 2 years. So really, really positive change in direction. And like I said, the idea has been to encourage people to come to our own platform and build our own platform rather than relying on other retailers or other resellers or garden centers or whatever other method of ability to sell our product. And that's really been the big transition over the last 2.5 years, has been sole focus on D2C.
Nice. Can you share any sort of distribution figures of, were you selling on Amazon? You mentioned garden centers, like what percentage is now all coming from platform and what's the distribution look like?
Yeah, so the distribution at the start was probably something like 60% B2B and marketplaces, and 40% our own platform. Now it's more like 75% our own platform, 25% everything else. Obviously at Christmas, the Amazon number skews that slightly. So if you look at November and December and January, what Amazon does, and I hate Amazon. I don't want to sell on Amazon, but you have to, right? Like,
yeah.
That before, like, even if you're just acting as the initial search impression via Amazon when somebody goes and looks, like, you have to be on it, because if you're not, you miss that initial search volume, right, that start their journey on Amazon. So I would much rather not have a presence on Amazon, but here we are. We have to, right? If we want to get found, that's where we have to be. So now it's basically Amazon and our own website. We do also sell on some smaller channels. Robert Dias, for example, we still list on Robert Dias, but we've pulled away from all of the other marketplaces. So we don't sell on The Range or Wilco or B&Q, Debenhams, any of those sites anymore. We've just pulled straight back from all of them and just focus on the greenfeathers.co.uk journey.
Can you give us a sense of how big the business is and any metric you'd like? It could be revenue or total customers.
Yeah, I mean, well, revenue-wise, I can give you pretty easily. Total customer-wise, that'd be a little more tricky. Like revenue-wise, we're about 2.2 mil at the moment turnover. across both D2C and B2B. I would say D2C being sort of 75% of that. So it's not a tiny number, but it's not huge either. But when you consider the niche nature of our product, the fact that we've built it into this level is, yeah, I mean, I think it's quite impressive. I'm
Yeah.
pretty pleased with it.
No, that's awesome. So how did you make that shift then? How did you obviously cut ties with certain distributors. How did you get people to hit the site though? What was your biggest strategy there?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest strategy then was paid media. That was the start of our journey. Really, was to all of the budget and all the time and energy that we put into the marketplaces and the other places we were selling. We pulled all that back and just threw it all at PPC. In the background, while the PPC was building, because the hockey stick effect of SEO, like we all know, you can invest 2 years in it and not see that 2-year payback until year 3 or year 4, right? So we had to do PPC initially to bring the customers to the site and then build awareness of the brand via PPC. So that was the initial strategy. But in the background, like I said, we built a new theme for the Shopify site, which rolled out in December last year. That theme was very SEO and UX driven. Probably more UX than SEO, if I'm being totally honest. But the idea was to really get, if you saw the product on Amazon, you would see our A+ content, our ABC content, you would see the listing, and you would probably have most of what you would need to make a decision on whether you want to buy that product or not. But what we wanted to create on the Green Feathers website was certainly on a PLP level, was a product page or a category page that gave you everything you needed to know about all the products that were available. And then when you hit a PDP, there should never be a reason why you move back from the PDP. Like, the idea was to really give you all the information, perhaps too much information in some cases, but really give you everything you needed so that if you were buying that product or you want to buy that product, you just would, right? And so, yeah, the redo of the website alongside PPC was the two big changes that really led to that growth.
Okay, so you scaled back the third-party retailers. You start investing in SEO and PPC. What does the sales breakdown look like now? How big of a pie? How big of a chunk is the Google organic traffic?
The organic traffic now is probably something like 35-40%.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
it's pretty decent.
Mhm.
I do think we cheat slightly because we are in such a niche market that there aren't many. It's not like we're selling clothing or furniture or something where there's a billion other retailers doing the same thing. And actually, organically, most of what we lose organically is to Amazon, which is our own listing anyway. So it's
not bad.
like it's even the 40% that we lose or whatever to Amazon, it still comes to us in the end. So it's quite. I feel like we've carved ourselves a nice little place in the market, and some of that was helped by a lot of the Chinese competitors in our space moved off of UK selling and European selling and put all of their eggs in the US basket. Obviously, then the Trump tariffs hit. Those people are now investing back in the UK. So I imagine over the next sort of 6 months, we'll see that SEO space will be more competitive and we'll probably lose some share. But if we look at the metrics that we can look at currently, I would say that we are losing less than the other competitors that we do have in the UK. So, I'll take it. I think we got very lucky. I'm not saying that it was all judgment and skill in this. I think there was an awful lot of luck involved in it. But I think with that luck, we rode that. And I think the positive thing that I've taken through my journey, through all the different things I've done in this tech lifespan, you have to take advantage of when you're riding that wave, right? You don't just sit on that wave and just accept it. You have to keep pushing along with that wave, because if you do, then when that drop off does hit, which it inevitably will, whether that's competition or algorithm update or whatever, you're still ahead of everybody else. And that I think has been the thing that we have done well. Like I say, I will admit that we're lucky with a lot of the Chinese sellers moving to the US market. But having said that, I think we did a very good job with it too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so what did your SEO strategy look like then? Was it just sort of bog standard keywords, good technicals, on-page link building, or was there anything crazy that you did?
Digital PR too. Like, I think
Okay,
the digital PR journey,
it's good to hear.
I think that's the DPR for us was the growth lever. Yes, we did tech SEO. Yes, we did keywords. Yes, we did on-page linking. We did all the basics, right?
Mhm.
I think the basics, and I'm sure we're going to come on to it, but I think the basics really help you with that AI journey. Um, but I think the brand awareness and thus the potential backlink strategy that you could have with DPR, kind of think that's what we've done very well. We've worked with another agency to do DPR. They've done a fantastic job of getting us in publications that we never could have dreamed of if we were
Mhm.
doing it on our own. Huffington Post, probably got 7 or 8 articles on that. Home and Living. I mean, if you just search everywhere, we did this really cool campaign around birds not rats, which was a campaign around the idea of building an ability to get birds back into your garden instead of rats. And that went viral I say viral for us, as viral as
Mhm.
it would get. All the tabloids picked it up. It was on the Mail, the Sun, the Mirror, all the places you'd expect it to go. And then we also did, alongside the DPR, we also had some opportunities to do some product review sampling, which I think was, we did that with the Telegraph and TechRadar.
Nice.
And that, I think, gave us a very nice little kick as well. As soon as those campaigns went live, you saw a nice little spike in traffic. And I think the really positive thing is we haven't seen that traffic decrease either. Like,
Wow.
I think with a lot of those campaigns, you'll get a nice little growth and then it'll fall off again. We haven't really seen that. It's kind of stayed pretty consistent. Again, I'm sure I'll come on to it, but monitoring traffic is a little more tricky with the AI landscape.
Mhm.
But I think overall, I feel that 30% revenue bump is kind of in line with 30% traffic bump. I think it's pretty good.
Where did those product review opportunities come from?
They came from direct reach out, actually. So
Okay.
TechRadar came to us and said, "Can we test one of these?" And Telegraph was a DPR opportunity that they approached our agency and said, "Look, we want to do I think it was on bird box cameras and bird feeder cameras." Said, "Look, can we have some samples and test them out and do reviews?" Absolutely. So they just reached out to our agency and we sent them the stock, and we know again, totally a full transparency on the report, on the reviews. We didn't have any involvement in it.
Mhm.
They just tested it, gave us really good reviews, really positive, like brilliant. So the product, but we trust the product, right? So I think that's the important bit. You can't do any of that if you don't have a good product, right? You've got to have a product first. And our product is, I'm going to say this right, but I think it's the best on the market. Technically there are better cameras than what we offer. But the ease of use, the ease of setup, and the reliability of those cameras is far superior to the rest of the market, I think. So, and that's what the review says as well. So it's not just me saying it. Our reviews kind of prove that.
It can be really hard to do like product PR. So it's awesome to hear that you got approached organically. But I do think you're in a very PR friendly space as well. Very visual, loads of people, especially there's a seasonality to it as well. It's like talked about at, gardening times of year and whatnot. Have you ever considered being more proactive in that approach, just considering how much of an impact it can have?
Yeah, I certainly think a change of strategy going into 2026, certainly when we get into birding season in January, February, I think the strategy will be to start doing more of that proactive reach out. We've done proactive reach out with influencers, and I hate the word influencers, but content creators, whatever we're going to call them. Sounds really derogatory. My bad. But we've worked closely with some smaller Instagram accounts that have got our cameras and build content, and there's some really, really cool content that comes from that. But it's a very small part of the customer base that we could reach. So it is definitely something that we're looking at for birding season. We want to put it in more places. We've got a few things on the back burner with some TV opportunities that that are going to come to fruition, and probably around January, February times. There's some bits there too, but I think once we get that TV bump, I think certainly reaching out and doing more direct outreach for product review testing be a goal. Yeah.
Yeah, the TV stuff sounds interesting. Is that something you guys have pursued? I don't know. It sounds like maybe you can't talk about it too much. Is the vibe I'm getting, but
yeah, I can't say too much about it,
okay.
but it was it was through one of our partners. So some of our habitats are built by a company called Wildlife World. They're based in Tewkesbury, so not very far from us in Bristol. They deal with some pretty large wildlife presenters, and they came to us with the opportunity to be involved in a TV pilot, and the TV pilot ended up being more than just a pilot. So
that's great.
That's coming. And then the other one that we had was again, all fluke, just direct reach out. Can we use your cameras on this show? Yep, of course you can. What are you asking? And so, yeah, built a really good relationship with, it's actually a Californian production company, built a really good relationship with them. And yeah, we've had this really cool opportunity to do a show with them. So, and it's cool because we've done quite a lot. Again, because BBC rules don't let us talk about it, we've done an awful lot with the BBC in the past. But because you're not allowed to highlight your brand on the BBC shows, even though our cameras have been used, we can't say that our cameras have been used. Whereas with these shows that we're doing with Netflix and with Amazon and with ITV and basically every other network that isn't BBC, we can talk about it. So when that show becomes a reality and it starts to air, then we can start saying, like we're not hiding the brand on the cameras. When you see the show, our brand will be on the show, so we can talk about it, right? And that's the big difference with we were very fortunate back at the start of Green Feathers that we're based in Bristol. BBC Bristol had all of the wildlife productions. Most of the wildlife stuff moved to BBC Manchester, and BBC Bristol got Top Gear, which went well. So we lost some of that relationship that we had with BBC Bristol. We dealt with a lot of really, really cool guys, and actually some of those guys are now independent, and we still have the relationship with them, but they generally are still producing shows for BBC, and so from a market perspective, we can do nothing about it. We literally can't say a word, which is really frustrating, but that's how it is.
Has any of the TV coverage resulted in, like, if you can't mention it and they're not clearly like labeling it on the show, not a huge benefit, even though it's super cool for you guys, has any of that exposure led to increased sales?
I think some of the exposure has led to people inquiring, and certainly if you look at Google Trends, you can see when Spring Watch or when Autumn Watch is in its peak, you will see an increase in people looking for the kinds of things they see, even if it doesn't directly affect us. But again, that goes back to your SEO positioning, right? Like if you position well organically, then as that traffic boosts by 50%, you'll get a slice of that, right? Because you're there. So it highlights again the importance of why your SEO work is necessary. You're just cashing in on it at the times when the popularity of those terms or those trends are on point, right?
And that's why you need to be there as well, isn't it? Because you want that top of funnel search. If someone's just watched Autumn Watch and they go, "God, that's a cool bird box with a camera. Like, I definitely want to get that for my garden." And then they're going to go to Google and make that broad search. What is a bird box camera? Where can I get it from? If you're ranking for that stuff, you're going to get a slice of that traffic, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly so.
And I think Netflix is like the modern Flex. Like, it used to be like, yeah, our products are featured on the local news or on the BBC, CNN. And now when you can say like, yeah, our products are featured on a Netflix show, like that's kind of big time. That's really cool.
We're going to be in a lucky spot that I think we're going to be able to say both Netflix and Amazon Prime at the same time, which is, yeah, I mean,
you're going to be
for a small little band, for a small little wildlife band in Bristol. It is pretty cool to say that we've done that. But also the people that we've worked with. Again, when the show goes live, you'll see it. But the guys that we've worked with, they're superstars, and they're superstars that come and visit us, and we have these really, really cool conversations with. And you're not talking about like, one visit and it's done. We're talking about repeat visits over a number of days, hours at a time, where you just talk ideas and plans, and it's really cool. But again, I think Chris touched on it as well. Like, we're in this really fortunate space where the product kind of speaks for itself. Like, as you just touched on, if you see a bird box camera on Autumn Watch, like it's done the sales process. Like it's done it. If somebody wants that, they want it. It's not it's not a bed or a wardrobe or something where you've got the decision process of what you're going to do or why you're going to do it. It's just, I want that thing. I'm going to go buy that thing, right? It's really easy. And also the story of the product is like, it's a good thing to do. Like the idea of bringing nature back into your garden and creating a home for nature. It's like a really positive story. So when you start talking to people about it, it's always a positive experience. You're not talking, it's not like you're not fixing a problem. You're not solving an issue. You're just doing something nice. And that, I think, is, as you touched on, it's just a really cool space to live in.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. And that's how I shop. I just see something on a TV show or whatever, and I think, oh, that is so cool. And then I want to do it. So I'm going to ask you at the end when I need to put a bird box in my garden. But before we get there, I would just want to touch on the changing, and I hate the word landscape, but I'll just use it anyway, of e-commerce with Google and AI. We're now seeing like a Shopify integration in ChatGPT. Like, how is this affecting you? Are you scared? Are you excited?
On one hand, as a tech enthusiast my whole life, I am excited by the opportunities it can create. But on the other hand, I also hate it. And I hate the fact that we call it AI when it's not AI. And it never, like, can we just stop? Like, it's not.
What should we call it?
Well, it's an LLM, right? It's a language model. It's a, if you remove the term AI from it, and you just ask it a question and it gives you an answer, that's not AI. There's no intelligence happening there. It's simply giving you an answer to a question. If we can start looking at it from that perspective, and we can also stop doing photo generation, video generation, all the nonsense that exists around AI, if we can just use it and understand that it is a tool to allow you to get an answer faster, and if we can all just accept that, it will be better for everyone. But all the while that we're trying to get it to replace videographers or creatives or all of the bad things that AI does, if we can just stop doing that and we can just focus on, actually, I need a wall of text creating and I want that wall of text created for me faster, that's okay, right? Like, that's totally fine. And I'm okay with it then, but I'm not okay with it when it's used for the nefarious purposes of just stealing everybody's creative work. And also you're already seeing the brain rot now, like it's already happening, where it's referencing itself. Like I know Zuckerberg came out, I think yesterday or the day before, and said, we've got 3 years before it's in full brain rot mode. And like, yeah, it is, because it's the more AI content that we put online, the more it's self-referencing, the worse it's going to get, and the hallucinations start. And anyway, that's my rant over. I hate it, but I also think, like, as you just touched on, Chris, like that idea of go to Google, what is a bird box camera? Why should I buy a bird box camera? Like that functionality of what Overview does, when it works, that's what it should be doing, right? That's literally what it should. Google is now less of a search engine and more of an AI prompt that gives you the answer quicker, and that's okay. Like, that's fine. I think I'm okay with it then. But the opportunity it presents, I think, it goes back to what we said before, like a good SEO positioning, good product pages, good detail. And I think when it links to things like Trustpilot and starts looking at reviews, because I think if you ask it a question now, one of the things it will reply with is this brand has good reviews online. All of those different elements that you should do as a good brand anyway, they help your AI positioning too, right? So I don't think you need to necessarily do anything different with it. You just need to do all the things that you should be doing anyway, and you'll see a benefit because of it. And so I don't think the strategy around using AI really changes. I think, if anything, it further confirms that all of the stuff that you should have been doing for good SEO, you should just be doing for AI. Like, it's the same thing, right?
It's like a throwback to classic marketing tactics or brand building. It's like all these things that you knew you're supposed to be doing. Everyone started focusing on like SEO hacks and cheats. And now it's like, hey, you should have been building your brand all these years. Let's get back to that.
That sums it up perfectly. The SEO hacks and the things that we used to do 15 years ago, where you could get a product onto the first page of Google with 5 good keywords. Like, those days are obviously past us, and those hacks they don't hold any weight anymore. What matters is having a really, really good, detailed PLP, PDP homepage, whatever, content page, doesn't matter, or having really, really good, detailed, focused content that builds your brand. And if you do that, then AI will like you too. But that's always been the case. Right? It's not, like we should have been doing that from the start, as you said. It's not new. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think the one thing, I won't say AI chatbots, maybe I'll say LLM chatbots. The one thing I think they do well is the research aspect. I know when I'm looking for something that I just don't have any knowledge in that space, that's where I go. I think that's where I go 95% of the time anyway. But just how fast it allows you to do the research, I think that's going to change content strategy for most industries. Are you seeing ChatGPT or any of the other LLMs become an actual traffic source yet? Do you think that will change in the future?
ChatGPT certainly is a traffic source now. It does factor. So I don't see that ending anytime soon. I think the work that Microsoft and Bing have done with Copilot, I think integrating Copilot nicer into Windows 11 is definitely a thing. And I'm sure we'll start to see, as more users begin the Windows 11 journey, especially with Windows 10 dying now, I think you'll see Copilot factor more going forward as well. And I think you're right. It's less about searching for a product now and more about shortening that research time for, I want to buy a product like this, what product should I buy? Like that quick cut out all of the noise. But I also I slightly disagree with the idea that changes your content strategy, because your content strategy should have been focused on the customers that want to buy anyway, really. Like, you can brand build to a certain extent, but ultimately the whole point of brand building is to build brand awareness that then ultimately leads to that potential customer becoming a customer, right? So I don't think the content strategy necessarily needs to change too much. I just think it further highlights the fact that your content strategy needed to be on point to begin with. And I think again, and maybe from a slightly arrogant perspective, but I think we've done that. Like, that's what we do. So for me, it doesn't change anything. If you were a brand that didn't do good content or didn't understand why content was important, yeah, I think you've got some catching up to do. But I think if you already understood that and did it, then I don't think it really needs to change. I think you just got to do more of it, right?
If you had an SEO writing your content, it might need to change a bit, because it's no longer like this many, this many times the keyword needs to be. So yeah. But
yeah, potentially that's true. I think, again, as Chris touched on it, we're lucky that our niche, it's not a considered purchase, right? It's not something you need, it's something you want. So I think your content writing is slightly different insofar as the SEO value is kind of linked to the product anyway. So you're not building a story of why you should buy the product from us. You're building a story of, this product already exists, here is the product, if that makes sense. Like, it's not, you're not looking for, you're not like brand building by building awareness of this product existing. You're just rolling the product out. You're skipping that first step, I guess. Whereas if you were like to go back to a furniture journey, you have to tell the customer why green is in style this year. Whereas with our product, we don't tell you that a bird box is in style, because it's already in style. It's always in style. It doesn't change. So you're not having to build a story around why the product's relevant. You already have the story. Yeah, I probably explained that poorly, but I think it becomes, when you're in a niche, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the sort of overarching theme of this is old school good marketing, brand building. I mean, ChatGPT just launched their new browser yesterday. And one of the tabs is a classic like Google search page, and actually they're just using Google search results but stripping all of the features. So there's no map pack, image stacks, video things. It's just 10 blue links. So actually it seems like we've gone back to
full
complete old school SEO, which is crazy. It's been awesome having you on, James. I'm almost certainly going to be buying a bird box, although I do still have a lot of work to do in my garden. It's been an ongoing theme in these podcasts that my garden has been the bane of my existence since last summer. But when do I get a bird box? What's the perfect time of year to do it?
You want to do it like now, basically.
Okay.
And so our peak is Christmas gifting, Black Friday, So obviously for everybody online, November is important. We can have an argument about whether Black Friday is useful or not, but that November, December buying period for Christmas gifts, that's a really good time to start thinking about getting it up. Climate change is a thing, so you're starting to see birds look for nests much earlier in the season than they would have traditionally. So I think, like, if you had a box up now, that wouldn't be a problem. You definitely want it up mid-January. Like, if you're missing that mid-January window, I mean, it might still get inhabited, but they're looking now. So you want it from like now to mid-January, basically.
Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
having the opposite problem. I'm trying to keep seagulls off of my patio. You guys have anything for that?
They're all about nature and bringing the nature in. What do you want?
Seagulls are destructive, man. They're not something you want on your patio.
Yes, but seagulls are still important for the rest of the ecosystem, and it's not a seagull's fault that the humans are in the way. Like, they were here first. So
yeah, Nick.
sorry, man,
be good to the seagulls, man.
Seagulls.
All right.
Yeah, James, it's been awesome. If people want to track you down or like go and buy themselves the products, where can they find you? Where should they go?
Yeah, at Green Feathers on Instagram. That's our sort of primary social media, and green-feathers.co.uk. Like I say, it's the main channel, or you can find us on Amazon, but I'd much rather you come to the Green Feathers website if possible. And we have a YouTube presence as well, same again, at Green Feathers UK. If you want to see the footage of the cameras, then go there too.
Okay, awesome. And keep an eye on Netflix and Amazon as well for a potential upcoming TV.
Soon.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, thank you so much, James. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, James.